Good afternoon. Today is Friday, the 21 day of July 2023. You are watching Diaspora Talk on KMTV Liberia / USA here in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Thank you for joining us. Today I am here in studio with Nathan Charles. My name is Joanne Adeproud Sie. If it's not your first time following us, this is program where we cover varieties of issues here within the diaspora and in Liberia as well. And let me go over to Nathan. Nathan, good afternoon.
Yes, thanks, Joanne, for bringing me on to the show. It's good to always be here on the Diaspora Talk. As you know, we are here to inform the Liberian people, our community as well, on what's happening. And things happening in Liberia and in the US and other parts of the world. Everyone now gearing up for this big celebration. 100 and what some more years Liberia since 1847.
Yes.
So indeed, a lot of things happening in Liberia. Looking at the political situation, the EPA came up with a statement on the pollution. These are all stories we'll be looking at. This one election, what is in it for our people? And, so these are things that are happening in Liberia, and lawmakers there at Capitol Hill. Liberia is just, an amazing place to be.
Yeah, talking about our Independence Day coming up, I was talking to somebody, one of my old friends in Liberia called me the other day and was telling me, Joanne, Liberia, we are so old and we can't even show anything for it. Elections is coming up again. And, like he was just ranting, going on and on and on. And I'm like, what? Take a breath. What's going on? He's like, he said, Joanne, let me tell you the truth. My family don't even have 26 full money. So I said, okay, so that's what this is about. He said, because with everything that's happening in Liberia now, we can barely have food to eat, and then the people went ahead and in fact they had like I think he said a thank you they have for the president in the country, and he was so frustrated. He was like, why are they even having a thank you for him? What is he doing? So well, I think it's the country right now is placed. Some people think that the president is doing well and some people don't. So it's up to you that are there now to make the decision in the coming election. So what do you think about it? Did our president was it necessary for Liberians to have gathered
Some
and host?
Liberians, like
Well,
you,
yeah.
like you
Well, some
said.
Liberians, yeah, to have gathered and host a thank you for the president. Was it? And it happened on a Monday because I could see a lot of posts on social media from friends and family saying that they cause unnecessary traffic because Monday is a busy day. People are going to work, and from where their party headquarters is at, it's in the middle of going the city, almost like the middle of the city, because people
Yeah.
are a lot of people use that area coming from the Magibi in from Yerebi, the entire Congo town area. So people are using that site, and if you're hosting a thank you on Monday, what's the significance of it?
Indeed, like you said, people will have varieties of views
Mhm.
based on the side you sit,
Yeah.
right? So, but for me, it's the general perception, the general reality
Yes.
on the ground, not just perception, but what's really unfolding on the ground. Indeed, there's a famous story that says the king is naked and no one can tell him he is.
Right.
When you're doing comparison, you compare other countries, other governments, and the institution, how people are living. So it is not a bad thing for people to appreciate the president. Indeed, he has done some work with the level of leadership he brought, the level of people he brought into his government, where he took the country from. They believe, his people believe, and that indeed he must be appreciated. And coming off with some of the new programs, some people's life has changed, but it is just some people or the general country as a whole.
Mhm.
As you know, you just gave that story, the opening of that story. It's so sad. We say they laugh, but going to bed hungry. People wake up. Our inbox are filled with text messages,
Yes. Oh
you know,
yes. Oh yes.
and friends and close friends. They are hustling, and indeed, It's not like America, right? Right now, you can jump in your car. You say, "I'm going to do Lyft or Uber,"
right?
right?
You
I
can
can
do
get.
whatever. And just talking about that, I was having a conversation with somebody. Like this in person, he's a graduate of the University of Liberia, and he's not been working. He's been like he graduated for a while ago, and we're just talking about things. And I said, if I had my own way personally, I would remove everybody I know from Liberia. And he was laughing like, "What you?" And I said, "I absolutely love my country. I would go back for visitation, or even probably even live there in the future. But right now, Liberia, it's almost not habitable." Especially if you aren't a government official or have somebody closer who's in the government. Businesses are striving, people are hungry. And I wanted to say, when I saw the crowd that show up to say thank you to the president, I wanted to say, well, maybe they were actually enjoying and they were only pretending that nothing is happening, and only because they want us to have pity on them or help. But the truth of the matter is, there are partisans of the coalition that actually want to see their president go back. And so it's possible that it was them that were in the street, or it were I think I know I saw a post from it was Patrick Honda or somebody else. Probably I saw a post from this person on social media that said um they were chalking people and they were sitting on the road and just laughing and seeing them chalking people, that they were moving people to I think Buchanan as well. And so I'm like, well, those people that are moving to Buchanan, are they going to vote there? Because I know the registration process have already in there. So, or did they just take all of those people to show up that they have crowds? At this time, is it what Liberians need, putting crowd together to come and celebrate you? Or do we need, or our people need something now tangible that we can show up and say, at the end of our president's first term, maybe, because it's possible he could have a second term. So let's say at the end of our president's first term, this is what we can show that we're proud of. Our president did this thing for us, and we're absolutely grateful for it. And we believe that he is the one that we want to go back with for a second term.
Indeed. So, like you just said, the story you just gave, and it brought back memories to me.
Mhm.
The first thing is, in our country, I done from all of the years I have practiced in Liberia, or the two elections I witnessed.
Mhm.
People can say, saying I was saying I got to know myself, right?
Yeah. Come on, Charity Town.
Shadikita, since I got to know myself, crowd do not determine your popularity.
Exactly.
We saw what happened to Vanish Shema.
Oh
When
yes, oh yes. I remember that story. You're talking about Vanisha. Honestly, I was like, I was much younger at the time,
you
and
know you said that
no,
you're
well,
a
I can still
teenager.
remember parts of what happened because my aunt was one of those people who was like a front runner for him. So our yard used to be packed every day. They would be cooking. We had those big pots, and you
Okay.
see chicken and rice. And honestly, like we all, like for me, I was not in a position to even register to vote at the time, but I could, I felt like, well, this man might probably win. And then, everybody in our area, our yard, with our family, things going to change for us because I saw that a lot of people would show up. And it was years later that I realized that people are only hungry in Liberia and they just need somewhere that they can get food from.
Exactly. That's why I said numbers don't determine that your popularity or how well people love you. Kennedy Sandy, who also ran for president,
Right?
you saw.
I
eh,
saw it.
so I mean, I can go on naming,
Mm-hmm.
presidential candidates who ran. And so multitudes of people. I was at ERW Junction when I looked down towards the SKD Sports Complex. The entire area was filled up, like when Lone Star play game.
Mm-hmm.
When they ready to win those
Yeah.
days, and so I was like, oh, this man is going to do something
Exactly.
for hours.
I know he had Gardnersville on lockdown, the entire Gardnersville area, the traffic that were over there. I can remember the Gardnersville town hall area.
Yeah.
They had like a football
Football
field
field.
over there. That entire place was so crowded. And everybody was saying this man is going to just break this election.
Yeah.
And what were his numbers?
And I tell you, so that's the story I'm saying that
Mhm.
numbers for me don't win. I'm not moved by the numbers. Why people try to show supremacy or crowd,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not moved. We have a little over 2 million person who have registered according to the National Elections Commission,
Yeah.
right? And death will occur God forbid, 10 and 10 within that period, the number will reduce. Other people will be sick. Some people will be unable, like you said, choking of people from one destination to another destination. You cover elections, some people were denied. Some people when they want, like you said, they are hungry. If you can give me $10, right, I can go Bombay
Just show up.
County. I can show up in Bombay
Just show
County.
up.
Hell yes.
Because a lot of people, they break in Liberia and people do not have anything to do in the first place. They were sitting home. They were just, community playing. They were playing Ludos and they were playing checker. And so if somebody was to tell you,
Playing Lulu. You
yeah,
thought I'm playing Lulu long time.
right.
Because I'm not less busy.
Exactly. And so if somebody was to tell you, come on, let's go to this place and I'll give you $10 or $20, you'll be excited. In fact, you'll start rallying people to come with you. And then you tell them, you're going with me, I'm getting $2 on that money you got.
But
So a lot of those things are happening in Liberia. I was having this conversation with this guy and I brought it up. I said, even kids here in high school, they start working. Some of them are working
16.
part-time,
Yeah.
full-time from 16 years old. And some of them in 2 weeks, they take home up to $1,000.
Yeah.
Some of them take like $1,500 just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you are college graduate, you cannot even earn $150 a month. It's a sad thing for the whole country.
I mean, it has not been it's not a new thing. I know I was in Liberia. I had a degree, and, and
Yes.
stuff like that. We're making lesser than that. So 150, we're making lesser than that, but because of our skills and extra thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some people cannot do that. Some people cannot manipulate the system positively. They're not, to gain these things. But indeed, we're not just saying that the people suffering only under this regime.
Oh no,
They started, but we expect things to improve.
Exactly.
To end
I think I
4
mentioned
years
similar thing
ago
like
can't
this.
be the
So,
same.
right. I think it was it with Jackson George when we're at the Waterside Market. We're talking about
Yeah.
something, and I asked him this question also. Why do you think Liberians have this mindset that we tend to create a scenario where we're like bootleggers. We do not tell our leaders the actuality, what's actually happened, the truth. Instead, we turn to maneuver the words and make it seem like what you are doing is actually right and make them feel it's not just on a partisan basis. And maybe you're a government official and you do not want your president to feel bad about what's going on.
You want to protect your job.
You want to protect your job, but at the same time, the people whom you're supposed to be protecting are vulnerable. You tell them, okay, everything is okay, the people are fine, they're satisfied, when it's the complete opposite of what's happening.
And just what you're saying.
And they will tell themselves and
some
say,
government officials.
the last government did the same thing. Why do you expect us to do different?
Yeah.
Why do we have that mentality?
I mean, just what you said. Few months ago, somebody came and said, "Oh, everything is good" and stuff like that. And the vice president, Joe Howard Taylor, she acknowledged some of the challenges. So I was like, but this was the minister who was like preaching it. But yes, the vice president who's Joe Howard Taylor, she was in Bonka, they doing an event. She acknowledged that they have not done what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
These are things we want to hear from you. Hey, we have not done this because of X, Y, Z. But just to say it is much better off than where it was. For me, I can say that's a blatant lie.
But also with her acknowledging their shortcomings, I think they should not just be acknowledging it, but be having things in place to fix it. Coming up and saying I have it's like going to a job interview and telling your interviewer that I have weaknesses in showing up to work on time, or exactly, and just leaving it like that. They're not going to hire you, because if that's your weakness, you cannot show up to work on time. What are you doing to fix it? Have you put in a mentor that have been working for you? Is it something? Because obviously our people tend to look at those things and see them as petty things. But if you come up and tell the Liberian people we've had shortcomings and just leave it like that, what do you expect them to do? What should they do with that information? They know you've had shortcomings. There is nobody in Liberia who will tell you that you've been 100% right at all of this. Since you've been in office, you've had everything okay, there've not been any issue. Of course, we know that you've had issues, and the fact that you're admitting to it is fine. We know it. But also, what are you doing to fix those issues? What do you have in place?
The next 6 years. But that's it. The next 6 years, give me more time. So that's why they're preaching.
I feel like these people take some of us for joke. They take Liberians for people, and I know it's our our personalities. It's the mentality that we have as Liberians. So like, we intend to say, let's stick with the devil we know. And so a lot of the time we go ahead over and over, and we do not want people feeling bad about us, and so we say let's stick to the devil we know, because you do not know the person who's coming in there, whether they will be worse than the one who was there, and all of that. But what's the essence of saying you want change if you're just going to use the same old person who's going to keep making the same mistake over and over? If it's easier for you to stick with this person, since you want to stick with the devil, and stay in the same position and just not complain. Because if you're complaining and you're telling yourself that I want change and I want things to be better, you should not be using the same people again. You can't be going in the same using the same road over and over, and you're saying you're not reaching your destination. This road leads exactly from here to Broad Street. If you're taking this road over and over, you're going to keep stopping at Broad Street. You're not changing. What are you doing? Which other road do you want to use? What else are you thinking about to bring into your life that could be the change? You Somebody was saying the other day, your people were in position for over 12 years, and what did they do in within the 12 years that now we've only gone 6 years they want us to do? I'm like, first of all, you said we should hope for change. You were bringing change. What is the change that we are seeing right now? And you think that it's okay for you to try to compare this leadership with the last one? Your words were you were bringing change. What which change have you brought about that we can look at? You know, when I start talking about these things, I get really, passionate about it, and so I tend to be disappointed sometimes in some of our people, because they were the same ones who will come about and say, Joanne, this thing is happening in a country where we're struggling and we're suffering, we're this and that, and then they will go back and say, but anyway, let's just stick with the people because we don't know who's coming again, and we don't know whether they will do any better or not. Is that a reason for you to keep with somebody, for you to remain with somebody who's not helping you?
I mean, like you are saying, everything is not in a rep. They are struggling. Like you said, we're talking on why should people, honor or praise the president, have a special program. That money should have been used to go into a particular project for
Exactly.
the Zogos. If you believe in his dream or other
A
thing.
lot of
we,
things that money could have been
yeah.
used for. It could have been invested into the tourism industry. Like I keep saying, Liberia in tourism, there are like 1 in 10, far from each other. There is nothing about the tourism sector in Liberia you can show off. Somebody was even
I
suggesting the
mean,
Patawi waterfall recently. I
I
mean,
was just about to
come
say
on now,
that.
that's the only thing we can talk about.
No,
Like,
I mean it's I think the Bars Island that they are the project
they
that
are
is
working on.
working on. So there are a lot of good things they can embark upon to our tourism sector. But I was looking at there are other things under his leadership movements and made, and the 14 military hospital that was there during COVID time, and it really stepped in the army hospital that was built there, and these are projects that were like initiated before. And other thing, you're looking at his link talking about attracting some money from European countries to support Liberia, and his other partners, like talking to companies to come in, though all of them have not materialized, and so these are other things we look at under his leadership. But hey, talking about rules is major thing, but that started under President Johnson Sirleaf administration.
Yeah.
This is something George we had to embark upon, and he has done, and he's doing to help the people of stuff. But more is needed. And we're talking about how can we make our people sustainable? How can we alleviate them? The now everybody crying everything on Facebook. Now a day past, people not complaining about LEC.
Right.
So our ministers, deputies, people who control this sector, not seeing what's going on. What can we do to revamp? Look at Firestone, right? Have a mini hydro. What other areas do? What can Monrovia do something? The McCoffey hydro power plant, we heard about this part of Monrovia is shutting down at this time. And the situation like Liberia, I tell people is compound complex. It just when you're fixing one sector, another sector
Another is just
is
happening,
opening.
like
Our
Liberia.
civil service, you've been seeing since the beginning of this year, protests have been going on from the NTA, the buses that were in the streets. Now they're still complaining
Mhm.
that the buses are limited in the streets. And you look at, don't even go to our health sector because that has been an all nightmare for our country, Liberia, right? How can we improve that? I don't want to
I
preach.
I get it. When you start talking about things in our country, you tend to just get frustrated, and I understand your frustration. You know, Nathan.
Child abuse. Let's go. I mean,
There's
be on the
just
human
a lot of
side.
things.
Hey,
Just a lot of
look
things.
at the amount of kids, rape cases, is another thing that have occurring. The issue of people, kids all on the streets. These are things that have been there for long. I quote from the president inaugural speech,
Hmm.
just word for word, and he said during that time when he mounted the pulpit, dressed all in white, and there were few things I admire from that speech. But after I saw things started after 2 or 3 months into his leadership, I mean, sometimes when you listen to people,
Hmm.
you say, "Oh, this man will bring everything." He said one thing that resonated with me, that I would not wish on any opposition. You are free to practice. He said that. If you
Hmm.
go back, I
I,
think into his
Nathan
speech, it's
talking
on
about. I think
YouTube.
it's not just the president's speech.
That was
Sometimes
just
some
one.
people can sell themselves in a way. Oh my goodness, you'll be really convinced.
Yeah.
I worked as an assistant living coordinator, and I had to do interviews. And sometimes some of the people that came in, and they will tell you, "Oh my god!" And I had this lady who said, "I can work, and I work nonstop, and it's my great. I don't sit down, and I'm working continuously." It was not even like a week into her training, she would not show up on time, and she was not doing her work completely. This person sat down in this interview and said they were working nonstop.
And look at
So
your act local and you
yeah,
feel
they're telling
motivated.
me. So yeah, I know, but it's not the same thing as being a leader of
So,
a country.
so that was just one I was giving reference, and we
Hmm.
saw few months we saw more at least situation that happens when politics are changing a location and
Yeah.
start doing all kind of thing. I was like, this thing is coming back. Another thing he said, that I will not let you down.
Hmm.
I will not let you down.
Yes.
I would not I would not make Liberians
Spectators
spectators
on
in
their
their own
economy.
country.
Yeah.
I will conduct Liberia
Hmm.
with paved roads. That's
Hmm.
the exact word of the president. That's why I'm reading word for word. And
I think for the roles part, for the most part, I've seen they've been working on that aspect.
yes, but look, let me tell you, they've been working. There's something called monitoring, not just paving the road, but how
Hmm.
can you sustain that road? That thing happened on the Eden Society government when
Hmm.
they faced the road, a GSA road, Dupo road, all these small roads that they did. The
Hmm.
drainages were terrible, right?
Hmm.
So how can we maintain our roads? Some of the roads have not been maintained. So these are things we need. See pictures coming from Lofa, see pictures coming from Grand and other counties. We need more. We have seen a lot of good roads built, but more is needed. How can you fast track? That's a major priority of these people.
Right.
And, how can we invest, put more resources, more energy into that? Monrovia is not Liberia. If you have visited Nima County, when I was in Liberia doing the Eddie Johnson study regime, we
Hmm.
visited Nima County. That county, I won't call it country, that county, it's rich with planties. I saw different planty.
Hmm.
I mean, when it bears just like
I
your hand,
know. I visited
I'm
Nima
like
a couple of times,
banana,
and
doing banana very big. I'm like, and all these produce rat because farmers cannot take it to consumers. We
right.
cannot preserve it. How can we
There's no way to preserve. There's no
transform?
transportation. The few trucks that they have, not even enough. They because of lack of transportations, the fares are really high. Some people cannot even afford to get those transfer, and so the produce ends up getting rotten. A lot of those things have been happening in Liberia for some time, and Liberians relations are coming. Those are things we should consider before making our decision. Is Are we satisfied with where we're at now and we want to continue with it, or do we want change?
Or you still want to be you don't want to be a spectator in your own country, or you want to continue.
Yeah.
So these are things that are happening in Liberia. We're
Mhm.
just talking about that point, and how can we as Liberians identify who can help change our lives. For me, honestly, looking at all of the parties and politicians that are coming up, we need more from them. During this election time, we need to grill them. Look at the past records. And even in the US, right? people who get into public service, or even if you get a job, you have to do background check. But look at our entire, from the lawmakers, right? Our ministers and stuff. Go back in the history or even current day reality. Those who are corrupt,
Mhm.
those who are into all kind of those standard deeds, they are the movers and shakers in our country.
Right.
So how can we change that? How can we make sure that we are on the right path? If I'm corrupt, Joanne is corrupt, we are in the same thing.
Right. And we're encouraging each other with the corruption and telling, well, Nathan, you're doing well. And then you keep telling me, Joanne, you're doing well. And then it stays that way. We're in that cycle and we're swimming in it. And there's nobody to tell us our faults and our shortcomings. So let's dive away from liberal politics a little bit. I want to talk about something that's going to happen in Minnesota next weekend.
Okay.
I If you're following our this Jimmy Jodokon Diaspora Alumni Association, and we are hosting our annual reunion slash convention next weekend. And so I want to say, wherever you are, whichever state you're in, whether you're in Minnesota, you're in Philadelphia, you're in Texas, come to Minnesota next weekend from the 28th to the 30th. Friday, July 28th, we are having our meet and greet here in Minnesota. The meet and greet is going to be an all-day event because people are coming from out of states, people are coming from all over to meet here. As I initially, and then on Saturday morning is the business event. Saturday, July 29. That morning, we're having a business event. I'm going to share out the flyers. Jimmy Jodokon Diaspora Alumni Association, we're having our business event on Saturday morning, Saturday, July 28th. And then that very same Saturday evening, we are having the dinner and honoring program. So our dinner night is going to be Saturday, July 28th, also here in Minnesota. And then Sunday, which is the last day of the closing day, we're having our barbecue. And so we have flyers. I'm going to keep sharing it. If you have any questions, please contact us. The Jimmy Jodokon Diaspora Alumni Association. I know we have alumni all over. You might not be an alumni. You probably you attended Jimmy Jodokon and you didn't get to graduate from Jimmy Jodokon, but you knew somebody who attended Jimmy Jodokon. You lived in the area. You were in Gardner's Way, and I know a lot of people know Jimmy Jodokon. So if you knew somebody who were there, you want to wish us well, please come to our program this next weekend. We do have some locations. I can give you dates and times. Our meet and greet, we have it on July 28th, 2023. Our Saturday General Assembly or Business Session is going to be Saturday, July 29th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the 8100 Newton Avenue in Brooklyn Park. 8100 Newton Avenue in Brooklyn Park. That's a Saturday morning business session, July 29th, 2023. The venue again is 8100 Newton Avenue. And then Saturday night, which is the fundraiser dinner for the Jimmy Jodokon Diaspora Alumni Association, is it's starting at 6 p.m. at the Redeemers Evangelical Lutheran Church at 4201 Regent Avenue, Robbinsdale. The address again is 4201 Regent Avenue, Robbinsdale in Minnesota. And then the farewell cookout, which is going to be on Sunday, July 30th, is going to be at 1 p.m. at 1601 99th Place North in Maple Grove. This might be a lot of information for you, but I can try to share it if you want to know. Just maybe slide in my DMs. I can send you the flyers. I've had it posted on my page. I've posted it almost everywhere. I've been sharing this with people, but we need patrons, we need sponsors, we want friends to come and support us. We are trying to raise funds for the students back in Liberia. Wherever you are, you might not have you might not be in a position right now to come to Minnesota for this program, but we need funds. We want to help the students back at Jimmy Jodokon High School. Jimmy Jodokon is our alma mater. For me personally, someone was saying Jimmy Jodokon business. So Jimmy Jodokon is the only school I know. I went to Jimmy Jodokon from kindergarten to 12th grade. from ABC school to 12th grade. That was like the school. So I am passionate about Jimmy Jolokon, and I'm hoping that there are people who are watching this video right now that know Jimmy Jolokon. We're having our annual reunion slash convention here in Minnesota from the 28th through the 30th of July 2023. If you need any information, slide in my DMs. My name is Joanne Proud CA again. And I was saying it, I was supposed to have one of our committee members here with me in studio, but she had to cancel last minute, and we would have explained in details. But I'm hoping that next week I will be able to take time again to go over this. And Nathan, I hope you're not just listening, but you'll show up too.
uh yes, the thing
I,
is, the aim, the goal
yes.
of the program, right?
Mhm.
Supporting your alma
Yes,
mater.
we want to remember the school. Jimmy Judoka, for me personally, I can
I didn't make you to speak good English, eh? Because
exactly.
some of your teacher didn't need.
Yeah, Jimmy Judoka. I went to Jimmy Judoka from kindergarten to 12th grade again, as I said previously, and the knowledge that was impacted in me from that institution, I can boast of anywhere. Our late proprietor, Emmanuel D. Weir. He was a disciplinarian and academic. Oh my goodness, I can't even describe. He was somebody who I will tell you for free. Discipline, discipline. I remember even when we're in the 12th grade at Jimmy
Your
Judoka,
fingernails, your color.
you had to be strict. In fact, he reading. We were in 12th grade and we were taking reading.
It was
He
one
was
of the best school
Yes,
in
he
on the
will come
Somalia
to the
Drive. I
class. He
remember
will
that.
come to the class and tell you, hold your book in your hand. He's sitting in front of you and you should read. And I remember that year we graduated, over 20 people went to summer
Some
school because and not mostly because of their grades, but because of reading. He was like, if you cannot read, you are not graduating from my school. As a 12th grader, before you graduate, you should know how to read. That was the kind of person he was. And so he would sit down and say, read this a paragraph, read this chapter, and if you cannot read it, you say to you're going to summer school, you should know how to read before graduating. And so because of those things, we want to be able to help the students. He's not alive today for some people to have interacted with him. But those of us who went through Jimmy Jolokon, we know what we are able to gain from Jimmy Jolokon, and we want to help to give back to the students who are there right now. Last year, October, the weekend of October 30 to the weekend of October from the 29th to the 31st, we had another one in Pennsylvania. We were in Philadelphia that weekend. And we had people turn up. I'm saying this because a lot of people, they didn't know we were hosting that event that weekend. But this one, we want people to know. We want people to turn up. We want our alumni and Welsh wishers across the globe, across the diaspora, wherever you are in the US, whether you're not able to come to Minnesota this year, please make your contributions. Help us to support the students back home from Jimmy Jirokon High School. Jimmy Jirokon on Somalia Drive. A lot of people know Jimmy Jirokon. A lot of people were willing to send their kids to Jimmy Jirokon. I can remember as a student of Jimmy Jirokon High School. You remember when that Super Friday thing was happening in Liberia? A student at Jimmy Jolokan High School, if Pawia just heard that his student was on the beach, you are having problem, whether it was doing school hours or not, you will have problems with him. And so some of those things helped a lot of us with current disciplines, and we want to at least be able to help the students back home with different things. This year, our project, we're trying to help them with their science laboratory, and so we are hoping we'll be able to raise enough funds to help them with that. And after this year, next year, we'll take on another project from the school, and we're hoping that we will be able to help them year after year with whatever we can. So wherever you are as an alumni or former student, whether you graduated from the Jimmy Jilligan High School or you just attended, please show up the 28th through the 30th of July 2023 to help support the Jimmy Jilligan Alumni Association.
So the alumni association in America, you guys want to do a science laboratory for the kids back
Yes,
home.
yes, that's what we're hoping to do. We last year we
So
were
how can,
working on their
if people listen to you, I mean, how can they get in touch with you? Cash app? How you raising the money?
Yes, we are raising funds. I want first of all we have a number that as a chairperson of the committee this year, you can send a text or calls 763-501-0730. The cell phone number again is 763-501-0730. You could call or text that phone number and somebody will get to you instantly. We can give you the Zelle information or the Cash App information. And we do not want you to just send your funds, but we want you to we want you to be a part of the organization. We want you to know what we're doing. We don't want you to just give your money and not know what the money is going towards, but follow up. Last year we were able to help out with their project. They did a basketball court. We help out with that, and then we help out with their library and other stuff. And so this year we're hoping to do the science laboratory, but we need people to help out with funds and not just send your funds, but be a part of the organization. Follow up so you know what your funds are being used for.
So, and where is the program to be held? In Minnesota, or where?
Yes, it's going to be held here in Minnesota. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here in Minnesota, all of them. Friday, the meet and greet. Saturday morning, we have a business event. During this business event, we want to discuss everything we did throughout last year, all of our accomplishments, the program we had in Philadelphia last year, the funds that were raised, everything. We want to talk about those things on Saturday morning. And then Saturday night is the dinner night and the fundraiser. And then Sunday is a barbecue. We outside a whole weekend.
You making me jealous. I think I will steal your idea and try to put my
For your own alumni association. Yeah,
group together.
Jimmy Jericho Alumni Association. We have strong alumni all over the country, and they've been trying their possible best to show up and help out. And we're hoping to get more people attracted.
Indeed, the Jimmy Jericho Alumni Association will be outside and having
we outside from the 28th to the 30th.
So you can contact KMTV or Joanne Proud CA if you need any information. And hopefully, as she said, we'll be bringing people on the platform here to talk more about that program. It is intended to educate that child. And, do not say your $5, $2. It's $2 US is important to a kid in Liberia. It can help battle bug. So we'll come back and talk more of that. Let's see if we can take a break from our sponsor, the Park Liquor Outlet, who is sponsoring the Diaspora Talk. And let's see if that is ready.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference. Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.
Okay, that was a commercial there from one of our sponsors here on the Diaspora Talk. It's the Park Liquor Outlet. It's a Liberian-owned business, and the Park Liquor Outlet is a Liberian-owned business owned by a couple well, Liberian and I think a business partner, and they've been sponsoring us here on the Diaspora Talk. It's here in Minnesota as well. So before we close today, there is this. We wanted to go over one of Liberia's finest, the late Minister Florence Alita Chenoweth. She was the first female Minister of Agriculture in Liberia and Africa. And she passed away at the age of 78. Minister Chenoweth, who made history, she was in 1977 when she assumed the role under President William Rachel Tobert, died on Monday, June 26, 2023, in Monrovia after a prolonged period of illness. And, I was reading in the story when I heard about her death. This is not somebody I actually knew personally, but I read on this, and from what I could see and tell from the things that I read within that short time, I got really proud. I felt proud within myself that a female in Liberia, with the country where from she was able to uh, gain so much for herself and to rise within not just Liberia but Africa and literally conquer the world. She although she died at 78, but her name was made in history. It's left. She was the first female agriculture minister, not just for Liberia, but the entire continent of Africa. And just reading this thing from Front Page Africa, that her groundbreaking appointment was in 1977, that when she became Liberia in the entire African continent agriculture minister. And her tenure was cut short by the coup d'etat in 1980, which forced her to seek refuge in the United States. Despite being away from Liberia, she continued to contribute to the agriculture sector, serving as a technical advisor to the World Bank in Lusaka, Zambia, and later as a consultant in Washington, D.C. You know, a lot of people within that position would basically just forget about even going back to Liberia and working or even doing anything there. They would just, once they've sick, a lot of people I know would leave Liberia and not even look back. But she continued to not just help out in Liberia, but other African countries as well.
Indeed. Let me just start by saying my sympathy to the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know this, but the late Florence.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever.
She was very much instrumental in helping people she did not know. I'm a beneficiary of her kind gesture.
Oh, wow.
She made it possible that we got education. She gave my aunt that reared me from 3 years, so I call her my mom, her entire duplex, upstairs, downstairs. Said, take this building, rent it out, and send your children to school.
Oh my goodness, who would have done that?
That building is on the SKD Boulevard. For those who are listening to me, go on the SKD Boulevard in Congo Town, a duplex, upstairs and downstairs, not just one small house.
Mm-hmm.
Said, take this building, over 20 years.
For free.
Since right after the war, 1991, 92, right after the war, said, take this entire building, send your kids to school.
Wow.
That's how my aunt was able to educate all over 5 and other children from around, from West Point. That she brought me from West Point, from my mom. She said, come and live with me in that building.
Yes.
For over 20 years, for those who know me, that's where I grew up. From the proceed she built that house with, I was able to send a lot of us to school. So I mean, I'm more of a grateful for her kind gesture.
Mm-hmm.
No one would have done that.
Exactly. I'm
just you just hearing
I'm
that.
hearing this thing, and I feel this lady.
So she have touched a lot of people's lives, and she was selfless. So I'm like part of that family.
Yes.
And my sister, because my aunt daughter was her brother daughter. Okay. So we have some are bound together, but not a day. I know my aunt used to call her. I always call my aunt used to call her. Oh, sis Flo, on the telephone. Those days used to go to LEC. I mean, the telecommunication area, and he turn the body like this and call. So I know how she was very much passionate about educating people. Her kind gesture did not extend to those she knew.
Yeah.
So people who have a vision, and this morning when I saw her funeral, I listened to few words from the President Eddie Johnson Sirleaf, who was a close buddy. I listened to other people who gave tribute, and I'm like, all of these things are saying this woman lived a life. She has sent people who have the PhD.
Wow.
If I was still going to be in Liberia and my mom's still going to be living, we're still going to out to college. So you should know, from over 20 years, we used that house to go to school. I was in college before I left and
That is
come to the
something.
US. Somebody who don't know you say,
Mhm.
send all your children to school. Or
Wow.
from this thing, I don't want any money
How many
from
of
you.
us can do that?
You just
How
take care
many
of
of
it.
us?
And I mean, when she came back to the US, I mean to Liberia in 2008, when she came agriculture minister, I had one time to talk into go to a program, and I was a bit hesitant to even tell, oh, this is me, one of a beneficiary of your effort. But indeed, I mean, it was good. We met on a couple of times, went to the house when she we should have come to Liberia. But this was the kind of woman. Apart from that, even when she went back to Liberia, I saw how she helped transform other people's lives, send them for master, not just in the agriculture sector who she never knew, picked them up. And I listened to one of the guy from Grand Bassa County who had through Dr. Chino, he was able to go Ghana. I'm like, that's not just your one. I'm here sitting down from what the rest part K2 and ABC
ABC.
from since the 90s to the
Wow.
2004 or something like graduated from school. So imagine from 90s, from ABC, not even to say first grade, from ABC, kindergarten to 2004 when I graduated from school. The proceeds I was from that house that was sent me to school. So I was like, this woman, she's somebody who believe in agriculture, and her famous saying, grow what you eat and eat what you grow. I remember that story of the rest riot, but I got to understand. My aunt used to tell me that's the reason why people don't know. And she used to tell me about that story of the rest riot. Every time we said to have story, family time, she would always talk about that rest riot, engaging into agriculture, the essence of that. And she always wanted for us to go into the agriculture sector. Like, oh no, God decides where we want to go, and and but do we have a personal farm and things like that. And one thing she always used to say is the restaurant on wheels. Florence Shinowe introduced that. And when I came to America, when I traveled, if I got to know what they call restaurant on wheels, now we can call it the shop, on the bus.
Yeah, the
And
food truck.
the food truck, we call it. She always used to say that when I was small. Oh, restaurant on wheel. And Tiflo used to take us to sell to every time during lunchtime. They would take our food. They was the kind of woman who believed in eat what you grow and grow what you eat. So I'm so much uh sorry for the loss of her life, but for me, I'm celebrating her
She
life
live a wonderful
because
life.
she has impact, and because of her educating me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to help people who I don't know as well. My aunt always told me, say, God put you in a position to help people. You don't have to know them. You see what you're benefiting from?
Yeah.
Sis Flo in America, or she was in Gambia at that time. She don't know you, but you going to school always help. And today I can say that, hey, I have people in India, in Ghana, in other countries who I'm helping. It's because of that one story my aunt always tell me. So indeed, that's how I want for people to live their life, not just be the minister who will only help girls or boys because you are sleeping with them and you have some family relationship with them. But hey, how can we extend our genuine gesture to other people? So I'm a beneficiary of Florence. What not everybody know. I learned to say that because she's not the one who do good and let other people know. She's like, oh no, I don't want nobody talk about this. That's just it. Anybody ask it, that's your house. But only people who knew that was not our house. And
Wow.
anybody
That's
ask
a
it, that's
wonderful
your house.
story. That's a wonderful story, and I'm hoping that someday I will be able to help people that way. That somebody can sit down and say, "Madam Joanne Sia did this as well." It's something that I'm proud of. She lived a wonderful life with just a short thing that I read from of her, and you who knew her personally with what you
No,
gained.
I was also not like I've seen her,
Yeah, I
but I
understand,
mean,
but you benefited
benefited.
directly from
Yeah.
her. You benefited directly from her. This is something that we should be proud of.
Mhm.
And I'm so much grateful for it. So we're gonna close on this today. Thank you all of our listeners and our viewers out there, wherever you are in Liberia, or in the U.S., or every part of the world you're, whatever part of the world you're watching us from. This is Diaspora Talk on KMTV Liberia/USA. We're here in Minnesota, Brooklyn Center. Thank you for following. We hope that you'll be back with us. We're on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 12 o'clock until 1:30 or 1 to 1:30. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Please continue following us, continue supporting KMTV. My name is Joanne Adeproud CA, and I've been here with my colleague Nathan Charles. Please do not until our next section, until our next program, we're hoping that you'll join us again. Thank you for following. I am going to go to um, a commercial here from one of our sponsors, the Park Liquor Outlet.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Broken Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store.